Okay, we are back, and next we're going to work with a color photo and correcting that and enhancing that photo. And as you can see here, we have a photo that is somewhat washed out. And actually, when I work with a color photo, I like to go ahead. As you can see here, it's already it's in RGB mode. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to CMYK. And so I go under Image to Mode. And again, you may use this function quite a bit to change the mode of color that you're working in. I'm going to change that to CMYK. And again, remember, you can change CMYK, RGB, index color. I don't ever use that. Or you can change the grayscale. So you're going to find yourself typically using grayscale, RGB, or CMYK when it comes to a photo. Anyway, I'm going to change this to CMYK. I can see that changes it right up here to CMYK. And so, as you can see, this photo is somewhat washed out. And so, as we talked about before, one of the things you can do automatically to enhance it is under Image, come down to Adjustments, and select Auto Levels. And you can see that already gives it some more pop to it. It's darker. The tones are deeper and richer. That's one of the things that you can do. Again, what I like to do is actually open up the Curves palette. And I actually use the keyboard command on that, which is Command M. And anytime you're working in any program, you're going to find that you have the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts that you can use. And those are always going to be listed on the drop-down menu of what that particular shortcut is, keyboard command shortcut is. And so here we have curves. We can open it that way as well. And again, that bringing up the curves palette, we can then begin to enhance this photo. And so we can actually bring this, what we call the center tones, down a little bit. We can bring the quarter tones up a little bit and bring those down a little bit and see if that's anywhere near what we want. And of course, we can undo that. This photo is actually looking a little too blue in this case. And so using the curves may not always be the necessary route that you need to go. And probably in this case, we would go onto Adjustments, onto Auto Levels, and that gives the photo a little bit more deeper and richer tone. Now, within this photo, you can see there are different things on the water. We have the feathers down here from the geese that are shedding their feathers. But if we wanted to zoom in on this area, for example, and say we wanted to get rid of some of those feathers, again, we would use the clone tool, the clone stamp tool. And again, you want to pick an area. When you're working in color, it's a little trickier because again, you're adding color to the equation now. And so you want to make sure that you pick an area that is a similar color, tone, and value and pattern. And here we've got the grass that we need to contend with. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on that so we can see a little bit better. There we go. And so, with grass, it's kind of a complex pattern anyway. But anyway, if you go up to the clone tool, and again, I'm going to find a little smaller brush in this case. You don't want to get one too big to start out with in this case. And so I'm going to sample an area next to this. And I'm going to again click on the Option button, let go, and then go over here. And I'm just going to go up, and you can see I'm already automatically removing the feather that was laying in the grass. Again, you can go out throughout the image here and do the same thing. If you wanted to clean up the grass, you can do that. And again, the grass itself is a somewhat complex pattern, and so you don't have to be too worried about trying to match it exactly, because you're probably not going to be able to tell unless someone's just zooming up on an image. You can really take out the grass, or take out the feathers in this case, fairly easily, and not really affect how the photo looks, other than to enhance it, in other words. But again, we're just going to continue to use the clone tool, and again, very, very helpful tool in eliminating things in the picture that you don't want. I've taken, there's been some images I've spent probably an hour on, just cleaning it up and taking them from a very, very old state. Sometimes it was a very old picture, and just really almost making it look like new. So again, you can very easily remove, again, in this case, the feathers in the grass. Back here in the water, we have different things on the water. If you wanted to clean that up, again, same process. Just sample an area of similar tone, color, and value. You don't want to get a light, very dark value appearing up to a light value, or vice versa. So if I go down here and sample a light and go down to a dark area, obviously it could work in this case, but that's not typically what you want to do. So again, it's very easy to just go throughout the photo, eliminate what you want. Again, you're sampling an area with the option button pressed down, letting go, and then going over and clicking. And you may need to go over click over it a couple times to make it look correct. Anyway, so you can very easily retouch and enhance a photo and removing unwanted images in a photo. Now, I also want to mention that you can also color correct this photo, and you could have done that in the curves palette. There are different ways you can do that. One of the things I like to use is going under Image, under Adjustments. I will go down to something that's called Selective Color. And what that does, that's going to bring up different colors that you can actually manipulate independently of the other colors. And so I click on this drop-down menu under colors. I have red, yellow, green, cyan, blues, magenta, whites, neutrals, and blacks. And so, for example, I'm going to go down to cyan. If I want to remove some of the cyan from this image, I go ahead this cyan on the slider bar. I can go into here and begin to remove some of the cyan from that image. Or if I needed to, I could add more cyan to the image. You can see it becomes a little bluer. Again, you can really see the effect by going down the other way. And so you can go in and adjust the amount of blue within that photo just by that slider alone. Now, while you're under that, you can also remove some of the red within that tone as well. And you see here how that really changes the look of the photo. It's adding more red and having less red. But you want to make sure, obviously, that the photo looks normal. So you can go under any of the colors, and sometimes you won't be able to use the colors because that will be a prominent color within that photo. But again, you have the option of using any of these, and that's just, again, one of the ways that you can enhance this photo. Anyway, this photo could take, obviously, some more work to it. Let's kind of just give you a sampling of what you can do in enhancing a color photo.